This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines. Snow is covering the Northeast, leaving more than 1 million homes without power. It's International Women's Day, and women all over the world are celebrating. Welcome to Matador News, and happy International Women's Day. I'm Jade Davis.
And I'm Brendan Benitez. Winter Storm Quinn has places like New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts buried under more than 2 feet of snowfall, with more on the way. Over 1 million homes are without power throughout the Northeast. Snow isn't the only factor in play. Lightning and winds over 50 miles per hour accompany the heavy snowfall. One person was killed after a tree collapsed on them in New York. Also, a teacher was rushed to a hospital after being struck by lightning in New Jersey. Weather conditions have shut down multiple roads, highways, and flights until further notice.
A Florida law putting new restrictions on gun sales is headed to the governor's desk to be signed. It would make it more difficult to purchase a gun by raising the age of 21 from 18. Andrew Pollack, the father of one Stoneman Douglas High School victim, says he's happy to see some change.
Senate for voting in favor of protecting our children. But more needs to be done, and it's important for the country to unite.
The law would also prevent those who are deemed mentally unfit and a potentially threat from the buying guns. The bill also allows teachers to carry guns, but only if they have military experience or teach a junior reserve officers program. Those qualified members who are allowed to carry a gun must also take 144 hours of training.
President Trump is meeting with video game executives this afternoon to discuss regulating games. This comes weeks after a deadly school shooting in Parkland, Florida. President Trump says video games, movies, and internet content are so violent that some children must be affected. But experts say this industry is going to be hard to regulate. Games are rated according to age-appropriate content, but the Supreme Court ruled in 2011 that California could not ban the sale of violent games to children. The late Justice Antonin Scalia said that video games deserve First Amendment protection and writing for the majority. He doubted the violence in video games could cause real-world acts of aggression.
President Trump has canceled a ceremony to sign steel and aluminum tariffs this afternoon. But at this morning's cabinet meeting, he did talk about the tariffs.
And I'll have a right to drop out countries or add countries. We just want fairness, because we have not been treated fairly by other countries.
A White House aide said the ceremony was canceled because of the fine points of the policy hasn't been finalized. Aides are working particularly on the expected exclusion for Canada and Mexico.
The federal government is suing the state of California. Matador News reporter Brian Berumen has more on the story.
Jeff Sessions is suing the state of California over its sanctuary policies that can protect undocumented immigrants.
The policy of a great nation to up and reward those who unlawfully enter its country with legal status, Social Security, welfare, food stamps, work permits.
He said in a speech in Sacramento yesterday that California is destroying immigration law. To learn more about how one level of the government can sue another, I spoke to CSUN Political Science Department Chair Dr. David Leitch.
We break it up by level. So we have a national government, and then we have state and local governments, and there's a division of the powers that they have.
Immigration law is enforced by the federal government, but needs state governments to help. California says it won't give that help.
This is a test of whether or not California is entitled to have these laws or not.
California Governor Jerry Brown says sanctuary laws are balanced and have the support of law enforcement. Sessions calls him and other California officials radical extremists. The federal district court in Sacramento will be the one to settle this feud, but experts say it may end up at the Supreme Court. Now let's go back to the studio for more news with Jade.
President Trump's lawyer filed a restraining order on adult film actress Stormy Daniels. Daniels had filed a lawsuit against Trump and his personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, claiming the president never signed a non-disclosure agreement following an affair between the two. She was reportedly paid $130,000 to keep quiet about the affair she had with Trump in 2016. If the court finds the president did not sign the agreement, Daniels would be responsible for paying the $1 million penalty for the breaching this hush agreement.
The U.S. has closed its consular agency in Playa del Carmen in Mexico. The State Department's decision to close this branch came after a bomb exploded on a ferry heading to the popular beach destination last month. That explosion injured 25 people, including 2 American citizens. Tourists traveling to Playa del Carmen are urged to exercise an increased level of caution.
The Trump administration has lifted the ban on importing elephant trophies. This will allow Americans to import the body parts of African elephants shot for sport. Although President Trump himself says the hunting of African elephants for sport is a horror show, environmentalists says elephants aren't meant to be trophies, they're meant to roam free. As many as 100,000 African elephants were killed between 2010 and 2012.
Law enforcement and opponents of Proposition 47 have argued since the bill passed in 2014 that the bill would increase the crime rate in California. Now, a new study from UC Irvine says the proposition has had no effect on violent crimes like homicide, rape, assault, or robbery. 47, also known as the Prison Reduction Law, was intended to reduce drug and theft felonies to misdemeanors to alleviate crowded prisons. The study will be fully published this August in the Journal of Criminology and Public Policy.
Cal State Northridge has fired men's basketball coach Reggie Theus and athletic director Brendan Martin. Theus had a 44-105 record in 5 seasons as head coach of the Matadors. All 9 victories from the 2014-15 season were vacated due to NCAA penalties related to academic misconduct. When Martin hired Coach Theus in 2013, he called it a game-changing hire. University President Diane Harrison thanked both Theus and Martin for their support of the student athletes.
Now let's go to Zaira Garcia to see how the world celebrates women.
Thank you, Brandon. It is International Women's Day today, and women are marching and celebrating all over the world. Women in Moldova, Eastern Europe, Kyrgyzstan in Central Asia, Pakistan in South Asia. These women are coming together to create change. McDonald's turns its golden arches upside down, turning them into a W. For the first time in history, the sign was flipped to honor women everywhere, especially those in the McDonald's family. 6 out of 10 restaurant managers are women. A message on the company's website says they are inspired by the strength and leadership of women. Barbie dolls have long inspired young girls, and now young girls can get inspired by some real-life figures. In honor of the International Women's Day, Mattel has introduced a batch of new dolls honoring accomplished women in history. The dolls come with educational information. Mattel is featuring Amelia Earhart, first female aviator to fly across the Atlantic Ocean, and Frida Kahlo, renowned Mexican artist and activist. The series pays tribute to these incredible women who made history. Women are trading in their heels and sneakers for sneakers and ballet flats. Sales of high heels dropped 12% in the last year, while sales of sneakers rose 37%. A New York-based market research firm says the decline in sales wasn't due to lack in options or price. High heel inventory rose 28%, and 1/3 of heels were discounted by 47%. Experts, meaning women, say workplaces are becoming more casual and women are multitasking more. Now let's go to Ana Ramos in the newsroom to see how CSUN students honor women.
Yes, it's International Women's Day, and CSUN students want to remind women how important they are. CSUN students say we should commemorate women every day.
I feel that women are not appreciated enough for all that we do.
I think we should commemorate them every day. You know, women have done a lot for us, and we don't appreciate them a lot. So we should embrace them every single day.
Clubs like Hermanos Unidos gathered together and handed out roses to all women walking by. They say they wanted to show their appreciation towards them. Happy International Women's Day. Now back to Jesus in the studio.
Thank you, Ana. In Los Angeles, 83-year-old herbalist named Timothy Morrow has been charged in the 2014 death of a 13-year-old diabetic boy for treating him with herbal oils instead of insulin. The city attorney says Morrow advised the victim's parents to treat their son with herbs one day before their son's death. Morrow has been charged with practicing medicine without a license and child abuse, causing a death. He is due in court for arraignment March 27. He faces up to 2 years in jail. A new study shows vaccines are not harmful. The study, published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, shows that babies who get all their vaccines at once are not at risk of getting infections. The researchers say they believe this result should reassure parents who may worry that the number of vaccines for children has increased over the time. And now let's go back to Zaira with more on business news.
The NCAA passes $1 billion in revenue for the first time. More than $800 million of that revenue comes from television and marketing fees. Another $1.3 million is from championships and tournaments. Money's coming in, but the NCAA is still facing other challenges. A big expense in 2017 was a $209 million settlement with former players. The players sued the NCAA because scholarships they received did not cover the cost of attendance. A J.P. Morgan exec says that stocks could fall 40% in the next few years. Investors are worried about tariffs increasing beyond what has been announced. Experts say markets could be heading for a deep correction of about 20 to 40%. But J.P. Morgan co-president Daniel Pinto says market gains should continue in the next year or two. Now let's go back to Jesus for more news on entertainment.
Thank you, Zaira. Have plans for the weekend? If not, consider visiting the Multiplex. A Wrinkle in Time is a science fantasy Disney movie that starts with a dark and stormy night. The story is about Meg Murray and her little brother Charles Wallace, who have been without their scientist father. Joined by the Meg's classmates and guided by the three mysterious astro travelers, the children decided to depart on a brave and dangerous journey to an evil planet. Some of the characters in the film are Oprah Winfrey, Chris Pine, Levi Miller, and Michael Peña. The movie is based on a novel by American writer Madeleine L'Engle in 1962. Companies are embracing International Women's Day. Brands are using it as an opportunity to show their commitment to gender equality. UN Women Partnership Development Specialist Tun A. Fiora says companies are asking her for ways to get involved. In previous years, she has been the one to make contact first. For major companies, this event is a focal point for major campaigns. Charlize Theron says her mom was her supplier. She told Jimmy Kimmel this week that she has smoked weed for at least 8 solid years and that her mom is her partner in crime. She says she is always willing to try anything and has only one life to enjoy. She also describes her experience filming the movie Gringo in Mexico. The upcoming American stoner comedy is about a businessman who is sent to Mexico to deliver an experimental marijuana pill. He then is captured by one of the cartels and he must escape along with her mercenary. The movie opens tomorrow. And now let's go back to Brandon for more news.
Thank you. Minnesota Representative Drew Christensen has issued a ban on Bachelor Ari Luyendijk for proposing to 2 women this season. Ari is the first Bachelor to propose to 2 women in one season. The local lawmaker says he was so annoyed with this action that he took to Twitter, saying if he got 1,000 retweets, he would ban Ari. Using the hashtags The Bachelor and Pro-Lake Lakers, Christensen got 12,000 retweets. The policy of zero tolerance with Ari was signed, freeing the people of Minnesota of his presence.
The skies are cloudy and the sun is shining. Today highs will be 73 degrees and a low of 53 degrees. Let's get our umbrellas out. Showers are expected this weekend into Monday. The lows will be in the 50s. Thank you for watching Matador News. I'm Jade Davis.
And I'm Brandon Benitez.
I'm Zaira Garcia.
And I'm Jesus Mendez.